Hello, welcome to Low Code Campfire. This is episode number 241 for Friday, April 24th, 2026. I am Dale Warner, head of support for Plant an App. Today we'll be talking about blocking bots and browser behavior and, well, anything else you want to talk about. So thanks for joining. This is an event that we do every Friday, or most Fridays, 10 a.m. Central Time, where we get together, talk about all things Plant an App. So all skill levels welcome. We do hope that you'll, if you're watching on our YouTube channel, that you'll join us live sometime. We record all these and put them on the YouTube channel at youtube.com/plantandapp. We'll run this agenda. We always stop and say hello because we're a friendly group. And then we'll go around the campfire. Anything that you want to talk about, we call that first call. Anything submitted in advance, and we have one of those. And yeah, other things from around our different topics, our community, our feature requests, things like that. But after an hour or so, we go into the Afterglow segment. That's where we turn off the recording, begin our weekend with just enjoying hanging out for a few more minutes. So do engage with us, jump in. You can show and tell what you've been working on, whatever you like. So you can submit those questions and topics in advance at support@plantandapp.com. Programming note, we will not be getting together next week, May 1st. And with that, hello, one and all.
Hello.
Hello.
Don, you timed that perfectly just after I get done speaking. Show up. You don't have to listen to all that. I get tired of it.
It's good stuff. You got to have that in there. No worries. I apologize for being a couple minutes late.
Oh, no, that's not late. That's right on time. Okay, so what's going on? Somebody has something you want to talk about?
Well, in fact, I do. This could be the whole hour, so please tell me if I should instead refer to my accountant or maybe my therapist. I don't have a therapist, but I'm joking, but probably maybe I should, but no, I don't have one. How does one price out their projects? How does one, when they bid on a project, how do you price it out when you have the advantage of low code, no code? Are you doing it a value proposition, or are you pitching that since you're using low code, no code, the project gets done faster, so therefore it's cheaper? Just wondering because I have a project that I need to bid today.
Good one.
Have you ever had that conversation? I don't know if I don't recall having that. We usually are all technical and we don't talk, commercial or business.
I don't believe we've ever touched on that in this group. I can share what I've done in the past and my approach to these things, but if anybody else has an opinion, happy to let you start. While you're thinking about that, I will start to share. So before my role with Plant an App, I was a consultant and directly priced projects, and I have a tendency to somewhere in the middle of those, Don. Um, I'm very conscious about how long I think something's going to take, and whether it's a good process or not a good process, I try to explode out the things that need to be accomplished so that I have a really good handle on what I think it's going to take me in terms of time to get something done. And that's usually a couple of passes. There's the main breakout of things that need to be accomplished, and then digging down farther, maybe to a second level, detail level of things. And I have a tendency to try to, if it's a big project, I have a tendency to come up with a best case, best guess, worst case kind of hours estimate on every detail item. And so by the time I get done, I have a pretty good guess about how long I think it could take. And then from there, I tend to add uh, for unknowns. The more unknown, um, if a project is ill-defined or incompletely defined, Um, I'll just make an estimate, a percentage that all my earlier estimates get inflated by the unknown percentage, and and then I try to think of everything in terms of um, what what it's going to take to develop, what it's going to take to implement, leave room for adjustments after they've seen it and see feedback. So all those things get built in, and that may not even be I think that's the more my approach of estimating, and maybe not the question you're asking, because you're asking about value versus time and materials kind of
Well,
thing.
yeah, and I often do time and material as well. I mean, I usually think through similar to what you were saying. I have an Excel sheet of here's all the different things that I have to do, and then maybe a column for the best case, a column for the worst case, and then you have those details, and you can add up what the overall project might take first for worst case and best case. So I have, but I was just wondering if because I also have tried to price value and argued the point of what's this worth to you kind of a thing.
Hmm.
So I've done both, and just wondering what if if using this is do you play up the fact that you're using low code, no code to develop it as a time saver, so that the customer is aware that you're able to get the job done quicker because you're using better tools, and so those two factors, the faster job and better tools, it gives you an edge in bids.
So since we started talking, a few more people that I think are likely to have been have done consulting have joined. So uh, still an open invitation to jump in.
And even if you're working for somebody, I'm sure that there's a boss along the way that says, how long is this going to take you to do? So hours is good. And I usually just end up figuring out how many hours and then putting an hourly rate on. And that's what it ends up being.
I think,
To
please.
to Don, to your question about value versus hours, when I'm talking to my clients, um, I don't really talk to them about the technology. Um, I'm giving them, so I guess it's more of a value of this is what it's going to take to get this done. And it's not usually until, well, hey, we were talking to somebody else and yeah, they were more money or had a much higher hours. Then we start talking, well, no, that's because, we're going to be using a low code solution here. And we talk about the pluses and minuses of that.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I agree with that. To start with, what's the outcome that you're going to get? What's the deliverable, and not necessarily how you're going to build it. They'll get into the technology. I'm even, talking. I sometimes don't mention even that it's a DNN-based solution versus whatever other platform it might be. If you need a website, need a function, it needs to do a particular thing, we can deliver it and host it and all that. So, yeah. Well, I'm going to probably end up today kind of walking through the same scenario, Dale, because, if I just throw a number out there, um, if I don't think through how long it just might take, I usually am um, worried that somebody will think it's too much money. That's uh, uh, that's where the therapist comes in. I should probably.
Uh, and I think that even still, I have the same thing, and uh, um, I like to deliver projects. I like to deliver quality, and I like to be perceived as being fair, and it helps me to have that hour's estimate so that I can get my head into the right space of, if things go sideways, I'm still going to stand by this number. And I've done that. You think it's going to take X and it takes 2X, and I stand by the number, and that way I can look myself in the mirror when it takes 0.75X and say, I did good on this one, but it could have gone otherwise. So it helps me to have the numbers in my mind, not even to present. Right.
Right. I have partners and vendors that do the opposite, that they give a very rough estimation. Say, oh, this could take a few days. This could take, but like me, no real quote. And then I start getting partial invoices, and then it just keeps adding up. And whatever time we
Hmm.
spend on the project is what they're billing. So it's like, I don't know what the route is to get to this place, but the meter's running and it's just going to be whatever it takes. So, I'm cautious of that. And most of my clients ask, give me an idea what's this going to cost.
Hmm.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Thank you for that. Like I said, I didn't want this to take, a lot of time. And I know that it's a conversation that could. If that anybody else has a particular thing, great. Otherwise, let's jump back into talking coding.
That is just as valid a topic as any other.
Hmm.
Um, the next one isn't really coding either. But before we jump, is there last call on Don's topic? All right. We had one that wasn't explicitly submitted in advance, but it was a support case, and I thought it would be worth talking about in this group just to understand what you do in this world of you got to combat the bots. And so a client that has been dealing with traffic spikes, and how do you deal with it when you get flooded with requests, and trying to block by IPs, and that's a never-ending battle. So, just wondering what anybody else does, or anything that you want to say about this topic.
And also, I think I'd add to that, Dale, is just out of curiosity if anybody on this call has any experience using Cloudflare for this type of situation.
Uh, Good question. I have known people who have used Cloudflare, and so I jumped in on it on one of my sites today. There's a free plan that just to wrap my head around what it is, whether turning on the simplest level um, starts to block the things that I've been facing. I think I've shared on this call before that I have faced exactly this scenario before, and came up with a plant and app based IP blocker. So watching the logs for abuse, and blocking them, adding a firewall rule automatically, and uh, I've had reasonable success with shutting these down on like a 5-minute interval, but and really highly reducing the amount of abuse. But still, you're forever dealing with abuse, and that's not a thing that's not anywhere near as much fun as writing new code. So anyway, I put Cloudflare on. If anybody's interested, we can get into the what that control panel looks like, or whatever. But just trying to understand it. So good question. If anybody has used Cloudflare or any other product to successfully block these.
Or yeah, and also just, what are your strategies? What have you been doing?
What does WP stand for in this context?
Work
Uh,
process. Go. I'm sorry, Dale.
okay. I, I'm trying to keep this at arm's length, but
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
tipping your hand. Worker process, yes.
Ah,
So the service that's if you right click and do on the server and look at the service that's running, the W3 WP is serving the request. You can, whether you do for example, if you do an app pool restart on the app in question, I think it kills off and restarts that, and it just provides enough of a block that something that's automatically hitting your site, all of a sudden they recognize that it's not there, and then maybe they move on to somebody else's site. But my experience is shutting it down and restarting the app pool might clear things temporarily, and then it just picks up again in 5 or 10 minutes. They're amazingly persistent.
Oh, good. So I don't have to be thinking about my old Word Perfect.
Yes, there is that.
Word perfect. I hadn't thought of that for years. My goodness. I was thinking of another, and of course, in the world of website development, WP stands for something different.
Yeah.
So the thing that I built that automatically blocks, and this is not to show the sophistication of the tool because it's not, but since this has been running, and let's find the time frame, since December 19th, that I've got 1,600 odd. Well, maybe it's not that many. Let's take a look at my actions here. So the blocked IPs, this is, yeah, it's showing 1,637 records. So I got a lot of blocked IPs. You try and handle it on an IP by IP basis, and it's just a forever process. And so I don't know. So I turned on Cloudflare. One thing that so just telling you what I've learned so far, that in turn, I don't know if there's any other way to do it. I don't believe so. You use Cloudflare as your DNS provider. You change your name servers to Cloudflare. So depending on the size of your organization, that could be. I mean, you can export your DNS settings from one and set them up in Cloudflare before you do it. But there's still this transition thing, and it's. I mean, for my small website, it's no big deal. For somebody else's enterprise level site, that could be. Um, it's always a little bit scary, I think, to mess with DNS at the core level. That you don't want to be down. You don't want to make a mistake and be down and out.
So out of curiosity, Dale, did you make sure that you are allowing the Cloudflare IP addresses?
I didn't take that step yet.
Okay, because the one things that I saw is that can be like if you have something like this set up, um, all your traffic suddenly appears to be coming from a range of IP addresses that are owned by Cloudflare. And so one of the things that can happen is that if you have any automated rules like this, it might start blocking the Cloudflare IP addresses.
Yeah. So uh, good point. I just turned on the free plan and let it import my records, and it turned it on, and it is blocking. And so if I were to look at, let's see. It took a while to propagate, but now we're seeing that. I mean, we see this IP address. It's no longer going directly to my IP address. It's going to Cloudflare, and so this is kind of just me looking at, am I being protected? Well, yeah, I think I am. It's going through Cloudflare. Can positively see that. My personal test is going to be, did my automation quit adding records to this, to quit blocking individual IP addresses? So we'll see. Trying to remember. I'm just trying to find my way around here. What somewhere I believe there's a indication about what it's been doing for you, and I don't know yet. Traffic, what's traffic? A lot of upselling going on here. So anyway, I don't know my way around enough to get to give it to her, but that's the little bit that I know, that you can set up a free plan quite simply, but that's you're gonna, I'm sure on an enterprise level, you'd have to pick a bigger plan than that. Any other useful feedback? Assuming my feedback was useful. I'm sorry. Internally, our team is looking at this just as when I presented them with this problem, they came away and said, "Well, AWS has Amazon Web Services has a product similar to this. It looks like CloudFront would be easier to implement, and it seems to be the consensus that CloudFront would be the way to go. It's just making sure that you get it done right, and then."
Cloudflare. That's CloudFront and Cloudflare are definitely two different things.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Cloudflare. All right, I'm going to move on.
Just real quick, I wanted to do
Please.
any of the others on the call have any have you experienced this issue and are doing anything about it?
Well, coincidentally, just today, I got a bunch of things on a non-Plantain app site where it was amazing to me how quickly somebody's AI bot could go fill up a log for our homeowners association.
Yep.
And like, wow, they had to go search through every post that everybody's made and then try to hack them and comment on them and everything. But luckily, all my Plantain app sites right now are all internal, so I haven't had the issues that you guys are. But I've been evaluating making a public site, and now I have something else to think about.
Sorry, I'm trying to.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when someone will hit you.
It is amazing to look at these. So, under IIS, looking at the log files and seeing what kinds of things are in here from a all right, this is just a perfect example of problems. I'm running a DNN site. If I see somebody requesting PHP in the log, it has nothing to do with. So this is definitely an abuse thing. So they're just probing, and it amazes me to see the kind of things that. I mean, they're just going bang, 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 one after the other. Let's see. So this is. Let's take a look. This is 1 second. So what is that? 8 requests per second, and that's probably lower than it could be. And just it's amazing the things that they are looking to try to probe, just to see if they're there, and then who knows what the next step would be. And one of the things that I was looking at, there was somebody trying to download football video files, and I have never had football on my site, so I have no idea why they thought that was a good idea to try to look for those particular video files. It's just incredible. So easy to spot when you see some you can find things that are abuse, and that's one way to look at it. But trying to go after that IP address in a one-off fashion is the thing we're talking about. I assume that my blocker, what is it, ending in 228. Let's see if my blocker actually picked that up.
Yeah, I've seen this often and never really thought about it, but as I'm looking at the logs and I'm seeing all these calls for obvious WordPress sites or PHP-based sites, and knowing that none of that can originate from a link on the current site, so it wasn't me putting it in there. That means that there are, this person, this IP address is clearly probing.
Yep.
Uh, are there mechanisms at the very lowest level so that we don't have to, just have the host company say, you know what, uh, this kind of stuff, just block them, right? Just then and there. One request to PHP, one request to WordPress, one request to trying to do a WordPress login, just block them, be done.
It's a great question. Now I found it. This is what is that all about? And then we go on to the NGHSA football. It's crazy. Anyway.
Now, not the football, but the other ones there. I've sort of always assumed these were some sort of Google type bot, going through to be able to walk the site. Does Google have any type of list of registered addresses those type of calls would come from that you'd want to let the? I mean, I know there's a robots.txt file that we
right.
can edit type thing.
So you can see where they come from, and this one is a. I think there are yeah, you can see something about where they're coming from, and yeah, if you want to allow search engines, the robots.txt is certainly a starting spot, but I don't think this is going to be a Google kind of thing. If you see a legitimate search engine scan, they will they'll start by looking at your robots.txt and then start going from page to page and following the links on that page, and they tend to follow the things that are publicly there and not look for things that you haven't told them about. That's been my experience.
Okay, so like those ones that on your screen there that are robot.txt, where they have, okay, search.brave.com, and we're rolling out, they're sort of giving you a lot more information than just somebody's IP address. Yeah, trying to.
For that.
One thing also that is that the user agent that's shown in your IIS logs is easily spoofed by people as well. So you shouldn't necessarily believe what it shows in the user agent. Like if it says it's a bot, it may not actually be, especially if you take the IP address and do a DNS lookup on it, and then to see, first of all, does it resolve to a domain that makes sense? Because a legitimate bot is going to properly list their IPs with in a domain service. So yeah. Anyway, that's something else to be aware of, is that the user agent you see in the IIS logs is not necessarily legitimate.
Mm-hmm. And yeah. All right, I'm going to pick a new topic. Or let's start with, I'll call for a new topic. Somebody else have something you showed up wanting to talk about today? Otherwise, I have one, but I don't. Doesn't have to be mine. Within Plantain app, I got looking at, we have this browser token. In the core tokens, there's browser, and you can get nice information like is this a mobile device? Get an answer like that. So you can find information about your browser. Well, I got into this because in our new forms project, we're moving a couple of things. There's in Action Form, there's the ability to get the time zone and the current portal language, and we're moving those things from being these kind of special one-off things that get injected into the context to true browser tokens so that you can just see them and call them like any other browser token. And so we're moving them, and it got me to looking at, I'm rewriting this text up here for what we're telling you about them. And then I took a look. We have this link here that says this is revealing the browser capabilities class, and there's a whole lot of other things like beta or capabilities, cookies, frames. There's a whole lot of stuff, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be nice to know exactly what's available through the browser token? And so I did. And so this is also a Campfire contribution, but you can take a look at it. That the browser token properties contribution has a list of all the ones that were on that other page, plus these couple that I was just talking about, are now showing up here. And so if you browse to this page, it'll show relative to your browser. I mean, this is all going to turn up different depending on what browser you're running, but at least to give you an idea of what all you can see in that. So a lot of information available. For example, I didn't realize I could figure out whether the client computer is running Windows and Windows 16 versus 32. So there's an indication of what operating system that it's running on, things like that. Is it just me that didn't realize all of these things were out here, or is this a surprise to anyone?
Didn't know, but wasn't surprised.
So if you're looking for some kind of, I'm sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
I didn't know that was there.
If you're looking to see if the browser in question can support something particular you're trying to do, it might make it an easy way to test. And then these all these properties are documented on that page that it's coming from here, so you can get a fuller explanation. I didn't try to say what all these things are, but rather you can look and see whether what the documentation is. But this is just showing you values. Input type keyboard. I assume that if you're looking at this on a mobile device, that would show something different. Things like that. So anyway, thought it'd be handy to put them out here so that you would know. And then while we're looking at this, there's these are all the things that are coming from that HTTP browser capabilities, which you want to look at the page from Microsoft for the documentation. And then this is the one that we're moving or replace. It's still going to be available in Action Form as the _ time zone offset token, but when you're using Forms, the new Forms version, you'd use browser time zone offset. And there's also our passkeys supported, and we're adding those to this same browser area so they're not going to be documented on Microsoft's page. But I just wanted to point out that those things might only be available from a button. So if you're sitting in, if you're trying to look at those from a workflow, you're not, or some other area, it's not going to make any sense. They're submitted as part of the submit process on a button, and so that's why you can only get a true indication of those from there. So like this one, time zone offset is coming up blank because this is being generated just as a token on form load. If I turned around and if I had a button on this page that revealed this content, you'd get a real time zone offset. It would tell you, for example, that I'm 300 minutes off of UTC time. That's the kind of answer.
But you can run a button anytime,
Yeah,
so you can get it even on form open if you wanted it.
exactly, which I believe our contributor Mark made a contribution that showed exactly how to do that. Hmm. All right, that's one of the things that I've been up to. Let's see what else we have. Oh, I know. Sorry for the randomness, but this in the most recent releases of, if you've installed the most recent updates to version 1.28, if you look on the General tab, you're going to see this new setting called Experimental Session. This is different from the therapy session that Don was referring to earlier. This is the session content that gets stored when you, if you trying to save stuff to use from one page to the next, and you use the session. So we have introduced a new session mechanism which leads to less locking and blocking, and so if you turn this on, it uses the new it uses this new, and we think, faster session functionality. It should be plug and play, and if you've used session at all, it shouldn't interfere. It should run the same way, but might run faster. So wanted you to know that that's out there. We would appreciate anybody. We've turned that on some of our production systems and are having good results with it. And so it's time to call attention to it for you. And if you want to see if that speeds up things, if you want to give us any feedback on it, we'd love to hear it. So yeah, let's turn it on for Campfire. One of the areas that you might see that might unblock you a little bit is, for example, if you're have a couple of different tabs open at the same website, and you're running something on like a long-running workflow on one tab and then flip to the other tab, you might notice that you're blocked from loading a page until the other thing completes, and this experimental session will free that up. So you should not be blocked in that scenario. Anyway, if that helps somebody. Did a small update here in the core tokens area, and it's really around the same topic of let's find configuration tokens, core tokens. I updated this topic yesterday to talk about the browser. So wanted you to know there are many more things than, I mean, then we can document here. You can look at the Microsoft documentation to see it. A reminder that you can go to Campfire to see all the different ways that that comes up. So just trying to keep the documentation in line with what we're doing. There was a couple of topics on the community forum, and I think one of them is still unanswered. So the easy one to answer was someone asking about checkbox images, using a checkbox on a form and wanting to display images. And I pointed out that you can put in, since images, the item list accepts HTML, you can turn, instead of it showing an option like, first name or option A, option B, whatever, you can display an image that works really quite well. And let's see, I had an example of it. If this link works or not. Nope. Maybe I didn't get the link in there very well. But I also had somebody ask a different question that's kind of along the same lines, and I was amused to find out. So imagine this. This is, well, a very small picture of my grandson is showing here. This is a radio box using that same technique, putting an image tag in a radio box. So I have the items list is including an image tag. And so there's the first image gets the value of 1, the second image 2, 3, 4. There's 5 images in this particular thing. And the idea was, let's see if I can find that. There we go. The idea was that he wanted to display faces from like a survey. So a frowny face over here and a very happy face over here. And didn't want to have a radio box with just, I guess it would help to. It takes me a while to do what I'm thinking about here. If I were to do this same thing, we'll clone this field and just make it be what does a typical radio box look like? You could have a survey where you're rating from 1 to 5. 1, I'm not happy. 5, I am very happy. And it would look like this. So with this image thing, it was just very easy if you know some CSS to style it so it got rid of the radio box, the radio control itself. It has an image. The hover makes it highlight. When you click it, you get a nice color around it that's different depending on which one you click. And it's still submitting at the end of the day a 1 through a 5. So I was just amused that it could be styled that easily. This is about 10 minutes.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I took the very simple approach and I did the styling against the actual name of the field. So it's my DNN 6555 radio boxes, the name of the thing. Ideally, you would do it against a class so that you're not hard coding it against a name. But this was all this is the complete styling that made that happen, and it was all done at the CSS level. If you ever want to undertake something like that, from a One way to get there, right? I'm not the only way to get there, but all of the options, I just rendered a standard radio box like this one that we see here, and then did a copy element, which gets all the content from below, and handed that off to my AI assistant and said, I want to use CSS to style it like this. I want it to look, and I actually gave it a picture of all the happy face kind of target I was looking for. I said, oh yeah, here's all the CSS you need to make that happen. So it was really a 10-minute exercise to turn this into this. Hopefully that'll help somebody.
That will help. That's very nice.
And 2505. Okay, so let's go back to this post. Don't understand what you're trying to tell me, Ben. My link doesn't work, and
Yeah, that here, right there,
yeah,
doesn't, at least on my screen, doesn't go anywhere.
that's what I was experiencing. It doesn't go anywhere. I have a
Yeah, it's
reproduction
blank.
of this. I have a reproduction of this someplace. I built the link wrong, so I could probably find it. So, but the short version is that you can, what I showed here for radio boxes works the same way for a what was this, a checkbox. You can put an image and put a check and use these same things. Well, we can show it here. I think if we add a checkbox and no, not a checkbox. It's actually a checkbox list, which has an item data source. You can do the same thing, and then it's going to show those images as your checkbox. So you could display images and get the results is going to be, in this case, is going to be 1, 2, 3, 5 as the output of it because of the values that were attached to it. So images can be used for that. I need to fix that link, but I'll do that later. And then the other question, merge from PDF. This looks like a straight up bug. I think we kicked this around last week about moving things to S3, and then apparently this client did move things to S3, and then he has a process that says, hey, I need this file, and I'm going to merge it into something else. As it's a PDF, I'm going to merge it into another PDF, and he's getting an error thrown on it. So anybody else using the S3 provider and finding seen this before?
Yes, and so, but what the specific message hash stream does not support seeking sounds similar to something that I actually had to make to show a video and get it to stream from S3 where somebody can actually move through the video. Like, they can click on the timeline to move to seek to another point in the timeline. I had to do changes on a specific folder, like create a rule for a specific folder in S3 to allow that to happen. And this might be similar. I'm just guessing, but I don't know.
So when you say a rule, this is at the Amazon level?
Yeah. I had to go on the S3 bucket and create I can't remember what it's called, but they have you can do specific rules. I can't remember what they're called. If I looked at the bucket, I would.
If you if it occurs to you, if there's a specific rule that would help for this circumstance, that'd be very helpful to know what it is. If you shoot it to me or add it to this ticket, I would love to know what the rule is, and that might just be a very easy answer rather than us undertaking to try to fix this, or him having to build a let's copy it back from S3 in order to be able to merge it kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
And if not, I understand, but that would be helpful. I'm not sure what else is left here. Oh, yep. So that thing that I was talking about a minute ago with the happy faces and the frowny faces for a survey, is that something that would be worth adding as a campfire contribution?
Well, yes, I think so.
Okay. Well, I'll try and add that to my list. I'm out most of next week, so it's not going to happen fast, but we'll get it in the list.
Brown face.
All right. I have come to the end, so you guys, it's now you're responsible for topics. We got 8 minutes to go, or we'll end early. I don't care which. Any questions that you want me to ask the boss, or anything you wish you knew that you don't know yet? I've got a question for you. We did a Low Code Cafe on Wednesday about Forms 2 and all the things that we've done in the last 2 months. And unfortunately, it turned out to be not very well attended. I'm wondering if if you're getting Forms 2.0 fatigue and you just want to see the product, or you were busy on Wednesday, or or things you'd rather see on Low Code Cafe.
I'm certainly not fatigued about it. I'm sorry I missed. And I definitely will be watching the recording.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly not flogging anybody for not coming and watching Dale talk for an hour, but we do want to provide relevant content.
Well,
I
the
got to
forum
watch
is
the first half, but then the busy day took over.
Yes.
So-
the forum is obviously a very, very important part of almost everything we do. So yes, it's very important.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to looking at it. I haven't looked at it yet, neck deep in other projects, and really can only afford the hour that we spend here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a after viewer as opposed to attendee usually.
I get it. And you mentioned the hour we spend here, that we've invested 241 hours collectively. I mean, it is an investment, so I understand. But yeah, and I certainly don't. It's there have been times in the past where it was pretty much Patrick and I in the room on when we recorded a Low Code Cafe. But it's good to have on YouTube, because you can then go search for that thing and point people to, well, here's how to do that.
Definitely.
Just conversationally, Mark made the comment to me in an email about how nice it would be to have better defaults when we position buttons on an action form. So you add a button to an action form, and then you've got to move it around. It's not really where you want it. It's wide and it's in the wrong place. And um, the whole Forms 2, the new Forms experience is going to be different in that regard, because you're going to be, instead of adding a form and we put it where we want it, it's you drag it where you want it. So that whole experience is going to be different, and hopefully better. But saying this as nicely as I can, that the minor things that are broken in action form will continue to be fixed for a long time. But I think small convenience items, like I would like the button to be different when we drop it in. They're just the focus is going to be investing in the new product rather than things that work but could work marginally better. So that's my my take on it. Not necessarily an official plant in that position, but I think it's probably pretty close to reality.
Understood.
Yeah, I'm not even saying don't ask. I hate to be the guy that says no. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get that one through. Anyway, all right. Well, that's 56 minutes of classic Low Code Campfire content. So I'm going to see if I can find the button. I do thank you for coming and investing the hour with us. We'll do it again in 2 weeks.